everybody, welcome to the Hamakua Homestead. My name is Tiffany, and here on this channel I'm taking you along for all of our adventures here on the ranch. Today we are still in clean out the freezer mode because we have a bowl that is hanging in the refrigerator and it needs to come and take up our freezer space. So this morning I was going through trying to figure out what I could go ahead and jar up, can up, get on the pantry shelf, and you'll never guess what I came across. Chicken feet. So chicken feet are super high in not just collagen, but magnesium, calcium, all kinds of essential nutrients as well. So we are gonna go ahead and get these put into the pressure cooker along with our vegetable scraps. When I'm cooking, I save most of our vegetable scraps, onions, garlic, pieces of bell peppers, pieces of jalapenos, pretty much whatever. I just add them to the bag into the freezer, and when it's full, then I have plenty of veggie scraps for a broth such as this. So let's get started. Some ginger and turmeric in there too. That's it, easy as that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this come up to heat. It is cold water, cold everything, and so it might take a few minutes, well, several minutes, lots of minutes, but we're just gonna go ahead and pressure cook this for about 30 minutes or so, and then I'll bring you back. One thing I do want to mention, you cannot pressure cook or pressure can in something that is not specifically for that purpose. This Presto is a pressure cooker as well as a pressure canner. You can have one without the other. In this case, I have both. So I can do the loose ingredients like this, and I can pressure can it into jars. Make sure yours is the right type before you start to do anything like this. Okay, we just now got our steam going. This happened to pop up. This is the little safety plugger. It popped up at the same time as this steam started coming out pretty heavy. I'm gonna leave this going for 10 minutes to get all of the air inside of the machine replaced with steam. So I will bring you back and show you what the next step is. Oh, sorry, I'm in the middle of folding laundry. It has been 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and put my dead weight on. This is going to stop most of the steam from coming out. And once it is up to 15 pounds of pressure for my elevation, it is going to start to wiggle. We need that to wiggle at least 4 times per minute, but it doesn't need to go crazy. Mine tends to go crazy, so I have to usually turn it down slowly until it's pretty much on low. Otherwise, it'll just like a hula dancer on crack. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let this come up to pressure, and I will bring you back when it's time for the next step. Our weight has started to jiggle, and I turned down the heat just a little bit, and I'm gonna keep it down a little bit at a time, just until it's not going quite that crazy. But mine tends to go crazy more than most people's do. I can't control the flame as well. So usually I'll end up getting back down to about low. So we're just gonna go ahead and let that go for 30 minutes. And then after the 30 minutes, I am going to let it cool down, let it come down from pressure all by itself. And then I will bring you back when it's time to open up our canner. Our pressure canner has come down from pressure. I've let it cool for another 5 to 10 minutes even after that, just so that it can do its thing. I think it's probably not as important when you're not doing with jars, you're just pressure cooking, but I figured I'll just do what I do anyway. So we'll open her. Always make sure that you open it away from you because there is a lot of steam going to come out and you don't want it to come out in your face. Smells delicious. Okay, we still have most of our water content. Not a lot went out in the steam. I think it's going to be very oniony. It smells delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and strain it out. I'm going to take out all of the solids, leaving only the liquid. And I believe that I'll probably do a second strain as well, but we'll see what it looks like after the first one. Here's one of the chicken feet. I don't know if you can see so well, but it is completely falling apart. Get all of that good juices out into our broth. The bowl is getting a little bit full, so I need a second small bowl for the rest. We have our 2 bowls that are ready to rock and roll. I'm going to go ahead and put them through a second strain while I put them into the jars. This guy is going to continue to drain out into this small bowl while we are processing this. I do not have my canner ready. This is obviously very, very hot. So I'm going to wash our canner and get it ready so that I can start warming up the water. Hot broth, hot canner, hot water. That's what we're going for. Okay, next step. We have our canner, the fire is on. It is going to come to a simmer while we are filling up our jars. Jars are nice and clean, ready to go. And I'm hoping that we get 7 quart jars. That's my goal. It is a very thick, very dark colored broth. I'm praying that I don't have to top it off or dilute it in any way, but that is an alternative if we need to. So we'll just see what we come up with. Our funnel. And I'm just using a coffee filter. You could use cheesecloth, you could use something else. I'm using a coffee filter to get out all the smaller sediments, which I'm not too particular about, but I decided to do it this way this time. This coffee filter thing's not working. I'm not going to use this. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back. I suggest that if you want a finer strain on your broth, you use cheesecloth, or be more careful than I am being. I'm gonna skip it. I really don't mind the sediment in my broth, so we're just gonna go without. So for our broth, we are looking for a 1-inch headspace. That is the line right at the bottom, right here. Right here is 1/2 inch. This is 1/4 inch. That's how you can tell if you don't have a measuring instrument. This broth looks amazing. It smells amazing. So I am going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of salt. Sorry, there was a mosquito in my ear. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt to each of these quarts. Hopefully we end up with 7 quarts. We have our 7 jars, but they're not completely to the 1-inch headspace. So I do need to top them off ever so slightly with water, but I'm really not disappointed with this ratio. I'm just gonna go with it. Everybody's good. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of salt to each jar. This has nothing to do with preservation. You do not have to do this. This is just what I'm deciding to do, and it only has to do with taste. Next thing we need to do is clean our rims. We want to make sure that there's no fat, no salt, no debris on our rims because it could interfere with our seal. I always use vinegar to do so. In some cases, you could get away with just using a damp rag or a damp paper towel. I always use vinegar because it makes me feel better. I just think it's cleaner. The really cool thing about this type of making broth is you can do it with anything. You don't have to use chicken feet. You can use bones from your leftover steaks and pork bones. You can use anything you have. Keep your bones from the things that you buy at the store or the animals that you harvest on your farm. And you can just throw them into that pressure cooker and get all that juicy, awesome marrow and vitamins out. And you can do the same exact process with any of those things. It's so easy, and there are just so many options. You can add dry seasoning to this if you want. If you want to have a particular type of broth ready to go for a particular recipe. I don't know if I did that one already. Or you can keep it plain and simple. This one is more like an onion broth because the majority of my scraps were onion peels, onion ends, and garlic. There was other things in there, but majority onion. Okay, all clean. I'm going to go ahead and stick my lids on. And my rings. Mistake 101. I need a rack. You never want to put your glass jars on the bottom of any heat source like this without a rack. It holds a distance between the heat source and the jar itself. If you put it in there just like that, chances are they're going to break. That's much better. This canner holds 7 quart jars. We are at full capacity. I'm gonna grab my lid. We're all set for now. Next step, we're just going to go ahead and wait for this to come up to pressure, same as we did before. Wait for the full vent of steam for 10 minutes, and then I'll bring you back. Steady stream, set your timer for 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Put your weight on, wait for it to come up to pressure. Our timer went off. It's been going for a full 30 minutes at 15 pounds of pressure. I'm gonna go ahead, I turned it off already. Mine does a crazy hula dance. It doesn't go low. But I'm gonna go ahead and let it come down from pressure all by itself and not interfere whatsoever. Okay, our pressure canner has come down from its pressure, and we're going to pull out our jars and see how we did. Again, always be sure to take your pressure canner off away from you so you don't burn your face. Looking pretty good. All right, everything looks really good. I don't have any broth in the water. It is super clean. We didn't have any seepage. I'm hearing some popping and pinging and bubbling happening. So I think this is a success. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Hamakua Homestead. We really appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you again soon.